we have to cover objects, right? Objects. Now, before that, do you guys remember we talked about null and undefined? If anyone can remember, maybe. Yeah, they can. Right? And just give me a second. Here's the folder. This will be object1.js. Okay. So if you guys remember, it was one of the type of data type. Yes. So was it primitive or was it non-primitive? Sorry. Right. Remember how many types of data type did we have? Just the basic division in JS. 2 or 3? 2, right? Only 2. Only 2. These 2 were first primitive, second one non-primitive, right? Non-primitive. Now in primitive, so far what have we learned? What data types have we learned in primitive? String. Okay. Anything else? Array. Array does not comes under primitive. Okay. So we have learned strings, we have learned numbers, and we have learned Boolean, right? Aside from that, we have learned array, right? Which comes under non-primitive, right? Anything else? No. So today we're going to learn 3 more data types. 2 will be null and undefined. These will be in your primitive only. Whereas in non-primitive, we'll be learning about 1 more data type that is called object. Okay, so is it clear ki what we have to basically learn? Var int, they're not data type, they're variable. You know, and the values inside variables are they belong to one of these data types. Thick. So let's start with null and undefined. So have we dealt with null or undefined till now? I mean, maybe in some class I might have told you something about them, if you guys remember. Null, undefined, anyone? They are primitive. Okay, anything else? Acha. Okay. If I write something like this, right? What am I gonna print? True, right? I'm gonna print this thing. Everyone with me or not? Sabko lagta hai ki I'm gonna print that's true, right? So let me get back to objects. Not revisions. Get back and check. Let me quickly clear it. And if I do a node object on it, I'm getting that's true. Why? Why I'm getting that's true? Is any number except 0 considered truthy value? Remember I taught you this thing, truthy and falsy. Let's quickly revise this thing once again, because I'm gonna need you guys to know this today. Right? So any number other than 0, it will be truthy. Yes. And in falsy, can I put 0 there? Right? Achha. Now, if you guys remember, if I write undefined in it, is it truthy or falsy value? If you guys remember it. Falsy, falsy, right? So if I do a node object on it, I'm gonna get that's false. Same goes for null. Same goes for null. Yes, so we have dealt with them, but we don't know exactly what they are supposed to be. है ना? We don't know. ठीक है, ठीक है. So let's try to get undefined in our code. Any idea how can I get undefined in my code? If you were solving some assignments or something, you might have encountered undefined. Give size less. Okay. Okay. So let me create a variable. Let's create let and let's name it num. Okay. And I'm just initializing it, right? I'm just declaring it actually. I'm not even initializing it. Okay. So basically I've created a variable, right? I've created a variable. So if I do a console.log num, according to this, I'm not getting any error in VS Code, right? VS Code पे कोई error नहीं आ रहा है. If I was getting an error, this should be in red. है ना? So there's no error, but let's see what we are getting if we try to print it. What am I getting? Undefined. Undefined मिल रहा है. Right? So basically undefined is nothing but a value assigned by JS itself to a variable which does not have any value. All right. So whenever we declare a variable, no, JS क्या करता है? It picks that variable and it gives it a value that is called undefined by itself. We don't have to do anything in that. Clear what undefined is? Clear? Right? So I can say for definition of undefined, undefined is a value that is given by JS itself, right? We don't give this value. JS itself gives this value to an empty variable. Clear? Clear? And by this logic, the thing is that for null, null is exactly opposite of this. So basically, it is again an empty value, right? वो भी खाली है, it does not possesses anything, but it's given by us, right? So null is a value that is given by us when we want to keep some value empty. All right. What do I mean by this, right? So let's create a variable, let something, right? I'm creating a variable, but I've created the variable. I don't want to give it any value, right? So what can I provide it in here? I don't want JS to give it undefined, right? Because I'm going to use this variable. So I will get there. Null to denge, but let's say if I give it 0, is it fine? Isn't this fine? 0, right? We know ki we can go and we can assign some other values to it, right? So let's say we want to assign array to it. It's going to get reassigned. So why not go with 0? Why create a whole new data type for that? Okay, so here's the thing. If I go and if I do a type of something, right? What am I gonna get? Let me comment this out. Am I gonna get a number? Number, right? Right. So I'm doing it for something and something has a number. Yes, everyone? Yes. मुझे technically एक number मिलना चाहिए. Not technically, I'm exactly gonna get a number. So if I do an object, I'm getting a number, right? Let's say for now we are doing everything in same file, but later क्या होगा ना? You'll be keeping your JS files in other directory, some other directory and all, right? So if someone tries to access a variable and they know the other developer was supposed to keep this empty, they try to use it. Abhi, is it empty? I mean, the value is 0, but is this variable empty? No, right? It has some property that is, if I do a type of it, I'm getting a number. So rather than doing that, we are going to give it a value null. So what null does is basically it prevents a variable to be declared as undefined by JS, right? And it will be usable. So now if I do of this, I'm getting no. So just keep in mind that in primitive data type, there is a data type that is called null, which has a type of object. And this thing is side effect of JS being created in 10 days. Okay, it's a bug. All right. So now given that we know that almost they do the same functionality, undefined and null, what's the difference? So here's the difference. The difference is that undefined is a value that JS will give to a variable, right? We cannot, I mean, we can, but we are not supposed to give it undefined. Whereas if you want to keep something empty by ourselves, null language. Clear? So the basic difference is this only. Undefined, yeah, they can be used. We use them always, right? So if I do num equals to 1, I will be able to use it. Tick. Correct. Right. Okay. What is the use of that? So like, again, as I told you guys, for now, if I do this undefined, right? And if I try to access this variable somewhere, if I do a type of it, am I going to get something from this? No, right? I haven't given it any value. Okay. So let's say if someone wants to access some values from it, they can go with null. Basically, the problem is while telling undefined and null ka difference, this is the problem that why do we need both of them if they're going to do the same thing, right? So here's the thing. The option is there, option diya gaya hai, right? So if you keep a variable something like this, JS will give it a value that is undefined, but you can also define an empty value that is null. That's all. Yes, Rahul. Thick. Not that big of a deal. Clear? Hai? Clear? I mean, for difference, you can just keep this in mind that undefined is it's basically something that is called implicit and explicit, right? So implicit matlab you don't have to give instruction to something, right? So आपको JS को you don't have to tell it कि this is undefined, right? It will just apply the undefined value to it itself. Whereas अगर if you have to define it empty from your side, अगर आपको थोड़ी सी और मेहनत करनी है, we'll go with null. That's pretty much it. Clear? Difference clear है? Makes sense or not? Tick. So quickly do a fill in the blanks for me. Undefined is an empty value given by, and null is an empty value given by, what's the fill up? I mean, this will summarize the entire thing that we have covered till now, right? So not computer, JS, right? JS. Take, because this is going to happen in JS only. In other languages, you won't have both of them. Most of language. Take, and the null value is given by us. Clear? That's pretty much the difference. And one more property that you guys should know is that they are falsy values. That you already know. Falsy values. Clear? Thick. Shall we move forward? Thick. So, I mean, that was your primitive data type. Two more things. So let's go with non-primitive ones. Right. So now we will start with our objects. Clear. So objects, just in definition, what do we mean by object? Object का मतलब क्या होता है? Yes, yes, Akansha. Both are falsy values. Undefined and null, both of them. वस्तु, ठीक है. A thing, right? ठीक है. So basically, object we are going to use it to describe the property of some things, right? So might make sense in that way, but let's discuss it in our JS terms, right? So objects, or it's usually called key value pairs. Key value pairs. Have we heard these terms before? Yes. Pre-class में. Oh, okay, that's great. ठीक है. So we're gonna go for object. This is called object in JS. इसके आप कई नाम सुनने वाले हो, right? This thing is gonna be same. It's one of the data structure, right? So it's gonna be in your JS as object. बाकी language में it might be called dictionary, कुछ में hash map and all बोलते हैं. But for now, we know कि in JS this is called object. Now, why do we need object? First, tell me. Let's say I have a student, right? I have a student, ठीक? And we need to सिर्फ स्टूडेंट नहीं, लेट्स कीप स्टूडेंट्स एंड वी नीड टू कैलकुलेट देयर स्कोर्स, राइट? तो उसके लिए वी नीड द डेटा ऑफ द स्टूडेंट, राइट? तो वी नीड देयर रोल नंबर, वी नीड द सब्जेक्ट नेम एंड वी नीड द मार्क्स. Yes, we need these three data, at least these three data. Everyone, ठीक? So now if I tell you कि you have to store this data, how can you do it? ये तीनों data using array. Okay, how? So you'll be creating array in what sense? Like something like this. So where data equals to roll number 21, subject English, and marks, let's go with 45. Something like this. Okay, what if I want to store other students' data too? Then 2D array. Okay. Achha, but this might have made any sense. Let's say that I went with this way. So in first, I might have stored the roll number, right? I'll go with, let's say 21, 22, and 23. Tick. And then I might have gone with subject. And in this, I might have given English, Hindi, maths, right? And then I might have gone with the marks. Tick. So marks 32, 43, and 55. Yes. Now let's say I want to access the subject and marks of roll number 21. How will I access it? Index. Okay. So if I try to print all the roll, subject, and marks, can I do this? Console.log roll 0, subject 0, marks 0. Can I do this? Everyone? So I can try that and I'm getting everything, right? But we had to do all this for single subject, right? So this is not going to be different for each student. Sabke liye, this is going to be same, right? The English exam sabke liye hoga. And then we'll have to create this same thing for Hindi, for maths, and all that. ठीक? And also you'll need to know the exact index of each student for this. Isn't this a bit messy than required? right? Right. So if we had some way to summarize everything in a single place for a particular student, let's say I had a var student one, and I somehow, let's say I'm just storing it in here, somehow setting all the data like this. 21 subject is English for now, and marks is 23. Take, and I can just directly console the student one and I can get it. Wouldn't that be much more better? Right? Abhi iske andar you can go on and storing your English, your maths, any marks. Take, so this is where something that is called object comes in play. Right? So object or key value pairs क्या करते हैं? They hold properties, right? So let's say I've created an object. Object ka syntax is curly braces, right? And inside this, you will be writing key and value pairs. ठीक इस तरीके से हमें लिखना है. So let's say I'm storing the students info. Let's go with students name, right? So let's go with tick, and then we'll go with roll number. And roll number, let's say 20. So this is basically, this is your key and it has some value. Clear? When you have to store another key value pair, you will write a comma and then you will write another key value pair. Right? So let's say roll number, and then I want the subject. Take subject, this will be English. Let's go with English, right? And then I can go and write marks. Take, I'll go with 34. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm just basically collecting every data of a single student. Okay. So now if I go and if I do a console.log obj, I'm gonna get everything in one place. Right. Right. So isn't this much more better way to store data? Yes, no, समझ ही नहीं है anything. Anyone getting this question कि this is the data for just one student? इतना करना होता, if we have to just store the data of one student, we might have just gone with student one and उसके marks and all, and we can just console it. ठीक? So basically, you can create arrays of object, right? So if I create something like this, student one, then I can store this entire data inside an array. ठीक? तो array के अंदर I can just go and I can create these objects. Okay, I can pick this and I can just paste it. उसी तरीके से I can keep on creating multiple of these objects. ठीक, and now I can access each and every object by writing array index. ठीक है, तो this is something that I'll cover later, a bit later, but I was just telling कि application क्या हो. Clear? So just tell me if you guys are getting the syntax, how the syntax is working for JS. Everyone. Just the syntax, how we can write an object, how we can print it. Clear? Clear? Achha, ठीक है. So please help me. Please help me. I have to create a object for a car, right? A car object basically, and it should have car attributes. Okay, so you guys can go nuts, go for color, go for anything, go for brand, anything, but please tell me first how, let me write this car, how I can create an object with this variable. Everyone, please in chat, everyone. Aditya, enter, press enter. Curly braces, everyone, right? So I can do this, I can do this. Think, if you remember, if I do a console in here, what am I gonna get? Everyone. If I do a console in here, what am I gonna get? Undefined, okay? So keep that in mind. If someone asks you, you know that. Think, and the value is given by whom? Me और JS, ठीक है, तो यू गाइस रिमेंबर इट। चलो फिर 5 दिन बाद पूछूंगा, भूलना नहीं चाहिए, ठीक है। तो आई एम गोइंग टू क्रिएट एन एम्प्टी एरे, ठीक। तो दिस इज बेसिकली क्रिएशन फेज ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट, एरे बोल दिया, ऑब्जेक्ट, ठीक। नाउ दिस ऑब्जेक्ट इज गोना होल्ड समथिंग दैट आर कॉल्ड what pairs, key and value pairs, ठीक है। the key is gonna be the name and value, you guys know the value, ठीक है। तो let's have a brand key, ठीक। तो for brand you don't have to make it as a string, ठीक है, ये key है तो it's fine, but if you want to store a value in it you'll have to create string if you want to store none, ठीक है। तो ठीक है, let's go with order. Anything else? Let's go with color, anyone? ठीक, remember we need the commas for writing multiple attributes or key value pairs, ठीक है, comma चाहिए रहेगा, तो ठीक है, let's go with red, ठीक। then what else? Rating, ठीक, so let me write rating 5. Anything else? Interior, all right, interior, any recommendation? Yeah. So I'll go with leather, ठीक, and again this is gonna be your destiny, ठीक है। and then we can have available, right, availability, ठीक। so this is gonna be either true or false, we can keep boolean in here, right, so the car is either available or it's not, है ना, so let's keep it true, it's available. Anything else? One last thing, price, ठीक है, तो tell me what's the price? Let's keep it 500, right, affordable for everyone, ठीक। but यहाँ पे K है and this is gonna be dollar, ठीक, तो this is string, ठीक है, अभी affordable नहीं है, चलो ठीक है। तो now if I do a console.log of this car, I'm gonna get exact this thing, yes, everyone, I'm getting that, right, but let's say I just have to print a particular property of this entire object, ठीक है। तो in my code logic I just have to use the color of these cars, ठीक। how you can access it, you can go and you can write car, ठीक, the object's name, you will write square bracket notation, याद आया कुछ, याद आया? so what should I write in here? color, shouldn't I write 1? ठीक, अच्छा, तो index won't work here, basically you have to take the name of this object, right, so let me write it in here for your reference, object का नाम, object name, and then inside this key, right, so what's the key for color? Is it color only? So I'll go and I'll write color, ठीक है। now let's see if I cut this and if I paste it in here, so let's try to print it, ठीक है। we're getting an error, what it says is basically color is not defined, ठीक। तो there's this syntax that you have to follow, इसके अंदर whenever you are writing the key, no, you'll have to wrap it inside strings, ठीक। so now if I do a clear node object, I'll be getting the value red, clear how we can access the values, everyone, clear, so basically जब भी हमने when we were using it without this, without this, now we have to start studying the error too. ठीक है, error भी समझना पड़ेगा. Let's say if I'm running it, I'm getting, what's the error? Color is not defined. Right? The error is color is not defined. Something like undefined. Right? So basically JS is saying that we are expecting a variable, but it is not defined at all. Okay. So let's see if I create a variable and this will be color name, and inside that if I write color and if I write it in here color name, by the errors logic, should it work now? No, yes, no, yes. Okay. Finally, this thing, what it's gonna give as a value? Color, right? So technically, aren't we writing something like this only? By this logic. Yes, let's see. If I do that, I'm gonna get that right. Okay. So we just don't have to look at it and then respond. Socho ki what this is gonna lead to, right? So we know that this entire thing is gonna lead to something like this situation, and this can be handled. Okay, everyone. So now do one thing. There's a bit work for you. Everyone, print interior, rating, and availability in one line. And please paste it in chat. Everyone. Basically access the object and print interior, availability, and rating. Rahul, write it separately. This won't work. Mulkesh, correct, but I wanted you to do it in square bracket 1. Rohit, correct. Jyoti, correct. You have to print basically these values, the value of rating, interior, and availability. Correct, Abhijit, but you don't have to write it inside one line. Okay? You won't be able to do something like this, people. If you are thinking, not this way. Right? Go for separate way. Correct, Mukesh. Shripat, correct. Correct. Okay, so most of you guys are again very correct. All you have to do is you have to just go right car. Let's say I want to access rating, so I'll go with rating. Click. And if I want to access interior, I'll go with car interior. And if I want to access the availability, I can go with car availability. Clear? And if I try to do a quick Node.js on it, I'm going to get each and every value. Tick. But isn't this again a bit more work than we want to do? Writing all the strings and all. Tick. So there's a bit more easier way. What you can basically do is you can just write console.log and you can write the object dot whatever key that you're trying to access, right? Let's say I'm trying to access brand. Now this will print that exact value. Clear? So basically in object, there is two types of notation. In object, two types of notation. One is dot notation and another one is square bracket notation. ठीक है, we just saw square bracket notation and now we saw how we can access things using dot notation. ठीक है, and we are going to use this much more extensively than this, ठीक है, because it's easier to use and quick to write. Yes, Abhijit. Not exactly any time. There is one case in which there's some difference. I'll tell you. जब वो case आएगा ना, I'll tell you. But for now, we can access it by this one. ठीक? So now everyone try doing a dot notation and try to access price, please, of the car. Everyone quickly. No, Rahul, that won't work. It will work in another way. I'll show you. Apin. Everyone, please try it. Then, okay. So now we know how we can access our objects and all, right? Let's see how we can actually update things, right? So let's not copy this. Let's go for a brand new object. Okay. So chalo. Let's create a variable, right? This will be object and we're gonna give them some value, right? So just as we used to push in array, right? Empty array create and we can push something in it. What if we want to add something inside object? How we can do that? Basically, it's very simple. All you have to do is you have to write object, okay? Then you have to provide whatever key you want in it. So let's say we have to go with name, right? And then you give them the value. Okay. So name, let's give this. And if I go and print console.log object, okay, I'm printing this object. I have tried adding a key value pair in it. I wrote the object's name, I wrote the key, and I've given it a value. If I go and do object in it, you see I have added a property in it that's called name. Clear? Clear? So now you guys try to add one property by yourself. Try to add subject in this object. Subject add karo. Everyone, quickly. Correct. Yeah, so I can see most of you guys are correct. All I have to do is I have to do this. I have to write the key's name and I have to give it a value. Okay, so let's go with JS. Okay, now if I go and try to print it, I'm gonna get this. Okay, so इसी तरीके से, as I've told you कि in object there are two types of notation. The first one is your square bracket notation, right? So all we have to do is जैसे access करते थे, just we have to access it and give it a value. उसी तरीके से in dot notation, can you guys guess कि how we can add something in it? Just a guess, quick guess. Let's say you want to add roll number. ठीक, simple. So all you have to do is object dot roll number equals to, and let's give it 21, right? So are we expecting clear? Are we expecting it to add everyone? Right? If I do this, you can see I'm now adding that property. Okay. So again, this is much easier. Much easier, right? That's why you will see कि the dot notation is used extensively. ठीक, except for in loops. बाद में बताऊंगा when we'll cover loops की why. ठीक है, तो is it clear कि how we can add object to it? Add object, add key value pairs to object. ठीक. Can anyone guess if I want to update the roll number, right? The 21, I made a mistake. I have to add 25. Can anyone, I mean, give a intellectual guess ki how we can do it? ठीक, Acha, keep this in mind. Object is a non-primitive data type, right? Data type, not typer, type. And what was the very important property of non-primitive data type? Non-primitive data type? Non-primitive, people, non-primitive. Primitive nahi, non-primitive. Is it mutable or not? I can see you guys are so confused. Achha, let me give you a cheat sheet. By primitive में क्या आता है? We have strings. Remember, we have strings. Can I update strings? People, can I access a str1 and just change it? No, right? To keep strings in mind. ठीक है? तो given that primitive is immutable or can't be changed, उसी हिसाब से what will non-primitive be? Mutable. Correct. So we can change the values. So can we update the values now, given that we know that we can change the values? है ना? Correct. So all we have to do for updating a value is just write the same key's name and just go and update it. ठीक है? And then you already know that top to bottom rule. ठीक, तो कौन सा वाला apply होने वाला है? 21 or 25? 25, right? If I do this, I'm gonna get 25 inside this. ठीक है? Understood? ठीक, so let's say कि now this is something that I'm getting, right? So let me copy this and var student 1 equals to this date. ठीक, I'll paste this in chat. Let me add one more property. Let me add role. ठीक है? Role is 22. Role already is there. Let me add marks. ठीक है? I'll copy this object. I'll share it with you guys. What you will do is you'll update the name and subject by using this notation, square notation, and you'll update roll number and marks by using dot notation, right? So the problem is update name and subject by this notation and roll and marks by dot notation. Question clear, everyone? Thick, let me share this object with you. Here's the object. Use this and please update this entire thing. Create a student too. Correct, Praveen. Correct, Jyoti. Santosh, correct. Correct, Kapil. Shripad, correct. Correct, Rahul. Correct, Jeevan. Nitesh, correct. Sheikh, here's the question. Basically, I have given you an object and you have to update it by using this square bracket notation for name and subject and update roll number and marks by using dot notation. You can't copy from chat. Yeah, एक line का तो code है. Quickly type it. Quickly type it. Correct, Rohit. Ritik, correct. Ritik, एक गलती है. खोजो and update it. It's not gonna print. It's gonna give you an error. Please tell me. Sharon, correct. Sharon, but will we be accessing the last as student 2 if you're accessing everything as student 1? Correct, Ankush, correct. Correct, Ankita, correct. Okay, 1 more minute, people. 1 more minute. That's fine. That's fine. Correct. All right. All right. So let's do it. Let's do it together only. So inside this, let me keep that question there only, और उसके नीचे type करते हैं. So in here, let me comment everything out so that we don't get any error. And let's say I want to update the name, so I can do a quick student1 dot name. I told you to use bracket notation. The name equals to, this will be let's go with Kohli, right? And then student1, I have to use one of them, right? So let's go with this, and then subject, let's go with Java, and student1 dot roll number equals to 30, and student1 dot marks equals to 50. Am I correct or am I wrong? Okay, so line number, which line number are gonna print and which line number are gonna give an error? Line number 105 and 106 will give error. Everyone on the same page? Why? 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 Correct. Correct. We have to pass a string, or else we might actually create a variable with var name equals to that string name and put it, right? So we can either do this, or we can just directly write it in string, right? This is long way. We can just go and put everything inside a string. Inside a string. Ab bhi fine hai? Now, is it fine? So let's quickly print console.log student1, and he should be updated now. Clear, everyone? So now you basically know how you can access an object, how you can create an object, and how you can update an object. क्या बच गया? Deleting. Right? Let's say you want to delete some key. ठीक? So all you have to do is you have to just go and write delete और उसके बाद that particular key, right? So let's say I want to delete the name. ठीक है? So now if I try to print it, I'll be deleting that name key and I'll be getting every other thing. समझ आता है? Right? So can you guys delete the subject for me, everyone? But use this square notation. Okay, use square notation. Correct, Santosh. Nitesh, correct. Correct, Jyoti. Karan, correct. Correct, Ankita, Aparna, correct. Aparna, just key, or should we provide the data about which object do we want to delete? Kapil, correct. Abhijit, correct. Updated. Ankush, correct. करेक्ट, श्रीपद करेक्ट, शरण करेक्ट. ठीक है. तो if I want to delete the subject, I'll go with delete, right? The object's name and the key that we want to delete. ठीक. If you want to go with this, I can go with subject, right? We have to tell कि किस object में से आपको delete करना है, right? Which objects, which key, है ना? There's a possibility there can multiple objects be in play, right? So that's why. ठीक है. तो if I do a quick node object on it, now I should be deleting the subject too. ठीक. Nitesh, for now use replit, I guess. If there's an error, fix it later. What's the error though? The path is correct and try again. I think your path is wrong. CD and try to everything. Take or else use replit for now. Clear everyone? Now can we create an object, access an object, update and delete an object? Understood everyone? Is it clear ki why do we need object at the first place? How to add a key value pair? So let's say I want to add the name again after I've deleted everything. How can I add it, people? How can I add it? Just write the object, right? You can go with dot notation for this. So name will be providing the key name, and in the value you can provide the value, right? This thing, right? And let's say you have to go with your square notation for that, so you can go with this. All right. So basically something like this, you can add it. All right. So this is a new key value pair, right? I don't get what are you trying to ask? I mean, if you want to, like, you see, for now, we have this object, right? If you want to add a new key value pair, let's say last name, so you can go for that, right? Just go with last name inside your key and give it a value. All right. Okay. So any doubts till now? For your reference, you can do something like this, right? Just go with student one. And if you want to go for dot notation, you can go with this. And let's say you want to add a key for last name and a value something, right? So if you go and print it, now you should be adding a key value pair, a new one rather. Clear? Okay. Quickly, guys. Any doubts till now? Any doubts in object, how we can create access and all? No? All right. So let's do one thing. I'll give you guys 4 minutes break and let's get back. Or uske baad let's try to cover everything that is left. Shall we? All right. So I'll give you guys 4 minutes. Get back at 9, everyone. Everyone back? आगे सब? Please mark your attendance. Can you guys see a box in here? I'm not sure why that's the case. So just give me a second. Okay, fix it. AI companion. Okay. Is my screen visible, everyone? There is not any assignment of today's topic. There should be. If there's not, I'll get it. Okay, I'll get it released. But you'll have an assignment. Don't worry. Because you need practice. So you guys can see the browser and the VS Code. Although you don't need to know. See the browser for now. VS Code ही use करेंगे. ठीक है, चलो. ठीक. So now we know how to create, update, access, and delete in an object, right? There's one more thing. Let's say you want to access all the keys in a object, right? So you can write console.log and you can write object.keys, and inside this thing is inbuilt, right? So inside this you can I think this one you can just pass student1, right? So if you do this, you should be getting all the keys inside that object. Clear? So this one thing is, again, it's an inbuilt function provided by JS itself. You have to write object.keys and the object name inside. Okay, so just a small thing that we needed to, you guys needed to know. Clear? How can we get each and every keys inside an object? That's fine. That's fine. See, now let's talk about nested objects. Repeat once last. So basically there's this thing in which you can write object.keys. This is inbuilt function by your JS itself. Inside that object.keys ke bracket mein, you can write the object's name and you'll get each and every key inside that object in an array. Check. Understood? Their value, if you want to access values, you can go with this. Okay. Although this is not practical, it's just there for checking, right? जिस तरीके से type of होता है ना, just to know कि what is stored inside that variable, उसी तरीके से just to get a reference, there is something that is called object.keys. Like you won't be using it that much, but you should. Can we create our own object? Aren't we creating our own object by doing this? Yes, we are creating our own objects. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about something that is called nested objects. We know what we mean by nested by now, yes or no? Nested ka matlab, right? So if I tell you that there is something that is called nested objects, what comes in your mind? Any idea? Object inside object, right? Right? Okay. Let's say for a use case, let's say I'm talking about an organization, right? So name something, name an organization, anything. Tata, all right, let's go with that. But you better know where the headquarters and all are located. Okay, I'm just kidding. So let's say we are writing the org name, right? So we can write name equals to, let's go with Tata, right? And then I'll write date established. Not. What's wrong? Why am I getting the error, people? 126 equals to, right? It's not equals to, it's colon. All right. So date established. I'm not sure, but okay, I can't see anything in chat either. So let's go with 1900, I guess. Okay. Chalo, that's fine. 1928. All right. All right. Okay. And what else? Founder. And I know this one. Jamshedji Tata, I guess, right? I guess. Okay. But now here's one more thing. There's one more thing. Let's say that this is about that, but let's say I want to mention verticals. Verticals का मतलब समझते हो? Verticals, everyone. So let's say there is a company, and उस company के under there are few more things, right? So let's say we have Parle, right? So Parle के under there are multiple many companies. अच्छा, if you guys have noticed, Coca-Cola, right? तो Coca-Cola के under you have Mountain Dew, you have Fanta, you have Limca and all. ठीक, उसी तरीके से those are verticals, right? तो basically have a company, organization, और उसके अंदर there are sub companies, right? तो let's go with sub companies. आपके जानने वाला, right? तो again there will be multiple of these, right? So we can create an array for that. Can we? Right? By now we know that we can store any data type inside this, right? We can just go and we can write Tata Steel, right? We can go with Tata Power and all, है? But again, let's say I want to store the information of these organizations too. Let's say I want to store who is currently leading these organizations. Then what? Object, again, object, right? So I can go and I can create object, rather sub objects, nested object. Thick, and inside this I'll have a Tata Steel one, right? Let's go with Camel one. So Camel case only. Thick. So we have Tata Steel, and इसके अंदर we can have अच्छा ये बाद में करते हैं. Let me do one thing. अभी के लिए यहाँ पे let's just write कि when it was established. Let's go with 1984. ठीक. Then let's write Tata Motors, and let's go with 2000, and let's go with TCS. ठीक है? And let's go with 1990s actually. ठीक. So basically what we did is we created a object that is named organization. Inside it we created a key, and that key itself is again an object. Yes. So can I say that this is a nested object? This is a case of nested object. Everyone? ठीक है. Any guess ki how we can access these nested objects? Let's say I want to print Tata Steel ka value. How can I do that? Just a guess. I know you guys are learning in first time, but again, given that it's JS or kitna repetitive hai, we can make an intelligent guess. For now, these all are key value pairs. Achha, quickly tell me, just quickly tell me, if I want to print the founder's name, what I'll do? Let's say where founder equals to, I'll do a org dot founder. Everyone? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Yes. Or I can do, यहाँ पे मैं ऐसे लिख देता हूँ, or I can do org founder. Yes, I can do this too. ठीक है? And let's say I want to access this key. तभी क्या करेंगे? Let's say where sub companies equals to org dot sub companies. Can I access it by doing this? Right? And isn't this sub companies again an object? Right? So watch this. If I do a console.log of, let me name it something else so that you guys again don't get confused. Small, let's name it small. Okay. So I'll print small, right? Everyone notice. What am I getting? I'm getting an object, right? So if I do small.Tata Steel or motors, what should I get? What should I get? 2000, right? So let's see. I'm getting 2000. Getting an idea how you can reach inside and check something. ठीक? So rather than going all the way this, what I can do is I can just directly do dot Tata Motors. अभी क्या प्रिंट करेगा? If I write small 2000, right? Let's say I want to print about TCS. Everyone, how am I gonna access that? पूरा लिख के बताओ. Don't write console, just how you will accessing it. Correct. ठीक है? So I can see most of you guys are correct. ठीक? Again, we can do this in square notation also, right? So I hope you guys already know कि यहाँ पे I'll write sub companies and then a square notation once again, है ना? I'll be writing Tata Steel for now. ठीक? तो small print कर दिया. Let's try to print console.log square actually, right? If I do a node object in it, I'll be getting 1980. Clear everyone? Clear? ठीक है. One of you guys asked a really good question. Let's say I'm trying to, let it be there and let me name it dot and square, right? So let's say कि I'm doing sub companies and then I'm trying to do something like this. Should this be a valid syntax? Makes sense, right? So by doing this, we are accessing the sub companies, and by doing this, we are accessing the key inside that sub companies, right? So if I do a node object in it and I haven't printed it, so let me do a console.log and dot and square, and inside this I'll write dot and square. Okay, I was going for a comma. Sure. So if I do this, I'm getting that too. Clear how you can access a nested object, everyone? ठीक? So let's say कि rather than doing this, I was going with the data inside this also. ठीक है? So in TCS, I wrote what can I write in here? Department, I guess. Department, and this will be tech. Right? Tech. So how can I access tech people? Tech कैसे access होगा? करेक्ट. ठीक है? क्लियर नहीं हो रहा है? ओके. तो इतना क्लियर है कि हाउ यू कैन एक्सेस अ की इनसाइड एन ऑब्जेक्ट. तो इफ आई डू org.founder, आई एम गोना गेट दिस. इतना क्लियर है? Who asked this? Akansha. Is it clear? Just this part, how you can access a particular key. Yes. उसी तरीके से let's say कि we have created a nested object, right? तो की के अंदर rather than storing a value, हम उस value को we are creating a object inside it. तो if we do org.subcompanies, बस यहाँ तक, just forget this thing. Am I gonna access the value inside this key? ठीक, whatever, be it anything, array, object, string, कुछ भी. I'm gonna access that. Yes. And then इसके अंदर if you want to access a key, what you will do is you will write a dot again. ठीक है? तो एक और dot लिखोगे and you will access that. ठीक? So that's how basically nested objects में you are just adding dot. Clear? ठीक है, we'll move forward then. हाँ, most of you guys are correct. So basically, again, if you want to access department, all you have to do is var department equals to org dot subcompanies dot tcs dot department. ठीक है? तो बेसिकली org, ठीक है, उसके अंदर डॉट के बाद we're accessing this sub companies, then again dot to access the TCS, and then the dot for accessing department. Clear? So if I print department, am I going to print the department, whatever department I've written? Yes, right? If I do this, I'll be getting that department. ठीक है? Nested object clear? No doubts in nested objects, because trust me, this thing is going to be very useful. ठीक है? मान लो you are getting weather data, weather का data, right? So let's say you are getting a weather data, and इसमें you will be getting your location, right? तो location ही let's say कि state का आपको data मिल रहा है. I'm just giving you a use case कि कैसे हम इसको website में might be we will be using it. ठीक है? तो in this we will write let's say Delhi, right? Then इसके अंदर you will be asked कि इसका location क्या है, right? तो location के अंदर in this sense multiple things will come, right? So if you guys might have heard about longitude and latitude and all, right? So something like this goes. ठीक है? Clear? All right. ठीक है, तो that's pretty much it, how you can create nested objects and all. I hope this is clear कि we can store anything inside the value of a key, be it string, be it number, be it array, be it object again. Clear है? No doubts? No doubts? ठीक, तो let's say let me pick a object, because I'm not gonna write an entire object again. Let's pick this. Okay, and let's print this object. Let me uncomment it. Okay, now if I have to print the value of each and every key value pairs, I'll be writing a separate consoles. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Right? For now, अभी तक जितना सीखा है, for now we'll be writing separate consoles, right? Or we can go with comma, but we'll have to write it, right? It's not dynamic yet. अभी के लिए we can't do a way जिसमें we just write key and value की कुछ बना दिया and we're just printing it. ठीक है? तो for that we'll be basically running a loop. Let's say कि if I try to run a loop on this object, I should be able to access each and everything. Just assuming कि I've created a loop that can run on an object. Yes? Yes? Right? हम easily सब कुछ print कर पाएंगे. Right? Getting it what I'm telling you guys? Okay, ठीक है. Just try to imagine this. ठीक है? I'm not exactly writing the syntax, but basically overall languages में क्या होता है? Let's say I've created an array. ठीक है? तो ये array ना, this is going to be something like this only. ठीक? तो it has an index that is the key, and we are giving it a value, right? ठीक, इस तरीके से पीछे लैंग्वेज में कुछ होता है. ठीक है, तो arrays is also called a key value pair when they are talked in sense of indexes. ठीक, तो now can we run a loop on an array? Right? And जब array में loop run करते हैं, if we write the index, if we know the index, can we print each and every element? Right? उसी तरीके से we can't run our usual normal loops on object. For object there is a different type of loop that is called for in loop. Right? Let me show you guys. So let's say कि I have this variable. एक काम करते हैं, let's just taking space. ठीक है? I can just go and run a for in loop on it, right? For in loop. ठीक? Just check the syntax out first, and then I'll explain further. Okay, so I'll have to write for, and inside this I'll be initiating a variable for keys, right? So for now I'm writing a key. In which object do we have to run the loop on? So this is car. Okay, so basically this. Okay, if I have to write a skeleton syntax for this, so I'll write for keys name and in object name. Okay, and inside this, just bear with me. Let's say if I go and write keys, let's see what I'm printing, and then we'll talk about what we are actually observing. Okay, so clear node object, and if I write, what am I getting in each line? The keys मिल रहा है, right? Keys मिल रहा है. So basically what I'm doing is I'm picking this object and am I running a loop on each and every key value pair actually? Right? So that's exactly what's happening inside this for in loop. Okay, so for in loop mein basically we first describe key what will be the name of the key. This can be anything, right? People, this can be anything. So this can be my name, and if you go and write my name in it, it's gonna still print the same result. Why? Because this thing before in, this thing refers as key. Okay, understood? Why we are printing the key name? Everyone getting it? Everyone? हाँ, I'll tell that, Kapil. Key value साथ में कैसे print करेंगे? I'll tell you कि how you can print values to सबके. But for now, is it clear कि how you're printing the key? बस इतना बताओ. Clear है? तो in hindsight, what basically is happening is key JS is creating. We have basically given a name for key. JS is creating a key, a variable with let my name. Okay, and in first iteration, it's giving that key a value of brand. Okay, so it's going and doing something like this. उसके बाद in ये हो गया first iteration. First iteration. ठीक? Can you guys understand by this? Then I'll write this second name. ये second iteration में होगा and it will give color. ठीक है? It will give this value color. This is for second iteration. ठीक? इसी तरीके से it will keep on updating till the last iteration. ठीक है? Understood कि how this is getting the value? Everyone. समझ आ रहा है? Right? ये loop ऐसे क्यों लिखते हैं? Why? Because this is the syntax, right? We can't run a normal loop on object क्योंकि object में we don't have any indexes. All right, we have keys. ठीक? Now, why did I told you guys this thing? अच्छा. If I want to print a value, right? How can I print a value given that I know the key? Key का नाम पता है? How can I print the value? Anyone getting an idea कि if I write car and इसके अंदर my name, now we are creating a variable, I told you. So something like this should happen. Brand should come in each iteration. Each iteration. Something like this should happen. Are we expecting this? Acha, let's see. Let's see. If I do this, am I printing the values? Everyone getting it? Why I am printing the values? Acha, that's fine. But ये क्या हुआ? Okay. But let's say if I'm doing a console.log car.myname, still I should be printing it because dot notation. Everyone, right? If I do it, you'll see I'm getting undefined. Undefined. When do we get undefined in JS? Let's deduce it. Sumit, let's deduce it. Why we are getting undefined? So when do we get undefined in JS? When there is no variable with that name. Yes, or at least value नहीं होता उस variable में. Right? Because it's not defined. Right? So basically what happens is there's a keyword basically that is called dynamic key access. Right? Now this thing, it's enabled in square notation, but not in dot notation. ठीक है. So basically whenever we are doing a dot notation, no, we're asking this car object to provide us with a variable named my name. ठीक है. So for now, is there any key inside this object that has my name? No. Acha, watch what happens if I write a key with the value my name. ठीक है, my name and checking. All right. तो अभी क्या होगा? For each and every key, the iteration is still running, so we should be printing undefined. But for the last one, should we be printing the value? Right. So let's do a node object on it. अभी क्या हो रहा है? We're basically again we're going with the value. ठीक है. तो हर एक iteration पे it's saying कि yes we have a variable with name my name and I'm printing it in each and every iteration. ठीक है. तो I told you guys कि there will be a case in which you won't go with dot notation. तो basically जब भी आप whenever you're running a foreign loop you won't be using dot notation. Why? If someone asks why you don't use it, because dot notation does not have dynamic key access. Clear? So in loops, we should be going with square notations only. Clear, people? Huh. Now the question is, can we print key and value together? I mean, my answer is yes, but you guys also know it. So please, anyone, can you guys tell me how we can print them together? Let's say I want to print it in this fashion. So key and value, something like this. It should look like this in console. Let me print both of them together once, ताकि you guys know कि we can do it. So if I do a node object in it, you see, I'm printing, the values and keys together, right? So basically Audi and then the brand red, that is the color and all. Correct. Correct. So all we have to do is we have to just write in a string fashion. Okay. We can go with console.log. Inside this, first we'll write, let's go with dynamic key actually. Okay. So in this, I can write key equals to, and I can write my name and value is equals to, and I can write car my name. Okay. So now I should be printing that. Clear, everyone? Clear? How we can print key and value together? Understood? Any doubt in understanding how we can run a loop in this? No doubts? No? ठीक है. So let's create an object where object, and in this let me create values as this, and this will be 1, 2, this will be 2, then 3, this will be 3, then 4, this will be 4, and then 5, this will be 5. Take. Can you guys run a loop in it and just print the values? Everyone. Run a loop in this object and print just the values. Everyone, try it. Car my name नया ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया भाई. I've created a new object. Shift plus enter, people. Shift plus enter, and just give me a second. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, do we have answers? Correct, Rohit. Rahul, correct. But we don't need that dollar sign. Karan, correct. Jeevan, correct. Okay, okay. I can see most of you guys are correct. All we have to do is we have to just run a for loop in it, right? I can name this anything, and we have to go and print console.log, and in here I'll do object.top. Yes, am I gonna print everything, every value inside this object? People? Yes, no? Yes, no, yes, no. No? Okay. I can see some yes, I can see few no's. अच्छा वो yes no में convert हो रहे हैं. All right. Right. Why? What was the word that I told you guys? वो word ध्यान रखना ठीक है. If you guys use a proper definition for things, it's not dynamic, right? ठीक. So that thing is dynamic key access. ठीक है? And dot notation does not fulfills that criteria. ठीक? उसके लिए we'll have to go with square notation only. So I can go with console.log. Inside this, I'll just go with this. And I should be printing the values. Clear? And me, so let me be so. ठीक? Now here's my question. I have to just print even keys value, right? So just for 2 and 4, I should be printing, else I should not be printing. Can we do that? Can we do that? Because you guys, this is just a loop, right? Bhale hi the syntax is something else, but still it's a loop. Can we write logics inside it? Right? So all I have to do is I have to write a if condition. If dog, yes, we are checking the key. Everyone, key check kar rahe hum log. Right? So I'll check if dog is divisible. Again, this thing is keys, right? I just named it dog so that it gets clear to you that we can name it anything. And we can do divisible by 2, right? So if this is true, we should be printing the value. We should be printing the value. Else, let's just print console.log odd, right? Let me clear this. Clear, everyone? For odd numbers, we are printing odd. For even, we are printing whatever the value is in there. Clear? Understandable? Everyone? समझ आ रहा है? Right? अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है. समझ आ रहा है, that's great. But tell me how I can do this. If I just give me a second. Let me fix this. And let me uncomment this. Only if I had a shortcut to reverse this thing, but I don't have one. So एक काम करते हैं. Let me quickly write it. ठीक है? So let's have 1 let's have 2, let's have 3, and let's have 4. Okay, but now in this case, again, I have to do exact same thing, but I have to check if the values are even, right? If the values are even, print the key and value pairs together. I'll give you 3 minutes. Everyone try it. Question clear, hai, everyone? Is the question clear? Let me write it. If the values are even, print key value pairs. Try it, everyone. 3 minutes. Sumit, abhi clear hai? If the value, like this value is 2 and this is 4, so they're even. ठीक? हाँ, try it. Three minutes, people. Correct, Rohit. Given correct. Guys, you have written this object. Just give me a second. I have to do something. Just give me a second. Mitesh, not exactly correct. Are we accessing the value? Value check करना है ना? Jyoti, correct? Sumit, you're checking for keys, right? And keys are string here. We should be checking for value, right? If the values are even, print key value pairs. Rahul, values, can you access values like that? Matlab, in console, you're accessing it correctly, but upper, if correct, Kapil, correct. Not divisible. All right, let it pass. Okay, let's do it together, people. Chalo. So now I have to write a foreign loop again. है ना? I'll write a for let key in obj. Everyone, yes, is the loop correct? Syntax for loop is correct. Okay. Now, how can I access? Let's say I'm writing a variable that is value. How can I access the value of a particular key? Value. Everyone, value of a particular key. Can I do this obj key and I should be accessing the value in each iteration? Yes, no, नहीं बताएंगे कुछ भी. Yes, ठीक. So now if I go and write if value is divisible by 2 and if I do a console.log and if I write key plus space plus space plus and if I write obj key Should I be printing the key value pairs just for even values? Everyone? So I should be just printing for 2 and 4 because the values are even. सबको समझ आ रहा है कि are there someone who's not getting it? Because please tell me, I'll help you get it. Or else please write yes in chat. Everyone. 51 yes. Can we have? शार्फ क्या नहीं समझ आ रहा है? The loop. Are you not getting the loop? Key pair. This thing जो console में. Is this clear कि if I write this variable, इसको भूल जाओ. Just let me comment this out. If I print console.log, if I write value, I'll be printing the values. Is that clear? Oh my god. कि हम लोग 1 2 3 4 प्रिंट करेंगे. इतना क्लियर है? राइट? ठीक है. तो उसके बाद मैंने क्या किया, आई रोट अ लॉजिक. वो लॉजिक क्या था? बेसिकली आई एम ट्राइंग टू चेक इफ दैट वैल्यू इज ऑड और इवन. ठीक है. तो जस्ट अगेन फॉरगेट दिस कंसोल, जस्ट कीप दिस इन माइंड. इफ, लेट मी कमेंट दिस आउट, इफ वैल्यू, बेसिकली ये जो 1 2 3 4 आ रहे हैं, इफ दैट इज डिविजिबल बाय 2. याद है ये हमने किया है, वी हैव डन दिस फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑड इवन नंबर्स. ठीक, तो दैट्स फाइन. And now basically we are doing a string concatenation, right? So we have a value key. ठीक, so if I write, let me remove everything. If I remove everything, should I be printing just the keys? Let me show you. If I'm writing, I'm just getting the keys for 2 and 4. That's clear. And if I write object key, should I be printing just the values? है ना? तो I am printing that, right? Now all I'm doing is basically writing a concat. Okay, ठीक है. तो I can write key, comma, उतना बड़ा तो अब नहीं लिखूंगा मैं, but I can go with object key. ठीक. Now we should be printing the key value pairs. तो key भी आ गया and value भी आ गया. ठीक. And ऊपर we just basically did concatenation. So I'll do a concatenation. Let me add a colon and let me do this. Take that. This is basically string concatenation, if you remember from the first class. है ना? So now if I do a node object in it, I am getting that. Clear? Understandable? Any issues till now in key value pairs? Anything? No? All right. So I had to cover one more problem, but I don't think we can do it in 8 minutes. So let's do one thing. Let's cover it in next lecture. Okay. Just let me give you guys a context of that problem. So basically it's frequency counting. Frequency का मतलब समझते हो? Frequency counting. Right. Let's say I have a string, just giving you guys an idea. I have a string which has something like this. So inside this, if I ask you what is the frequency of A in that string, what will you say? Number of times, right? So it's 2. If I ask you what is the frequency of F, 4, 5, right? Can I take 5 more minutes extra if it's fine? Then we can cover this question. It's a good question. That's why I wanted to cover it. Fine. Okay, sir. So let's actually do this. Let's say I have a variable, let's just name it my string. Take Pascal case, if you guys remember it. Okay, so in this string we have these many like elements, or unke, let's say we want to calculate the frequency. Okay, so we can use objects for that. Why? Here's the thing, the keys in objects are always going to be unique. मतलब समझ आता है? मतलब समझ आता है? Right? So if in an object you have created a key, you should not be using it again. ठीक है? ठीक है? Let's say I'm trying to print this object. ठीक है, यहाँ पे just string लिखा है. If I go and if I print that object, what are we getting? Look at this object and tell me. We have written same key value pair. It's overwriting, it's skipping, it's updating. जो भी नीचे वाला है, that is getting the value overwritten above the upper one. है ना? तो this rule is always gonna get followed in objects. The keys are always going to be unique. ठीक है? तो in here, that's why the concept comes. Key, don't get confused, but if you guys remember, if I do a console.log type of an array, think what am I gonna get? याद है? Object, right? If I do this type of, है ना? The keyword should be correct. So node object, I am getting object, right? So basically this is object. इसी वजह से can we have same type of index twice? No, right? Right? Indexes are also unique because those are key value pairs. So keys in objects are always going to be unique. Is this clear? Itna clear hai? We're going to use this property of this key to find frequency in a string. ठीक है? तो let's start with creating an empty object. So let's let object equals to this, and let me comment this out. Now basically we have created an empty object, and now what I'll do is I'll basically run a loop on this string. Okay, so for var I equals to 0, or rather let I equals to 0, I is less than my string dot length, right, and I plus. Okay, so now let's say I want my object to have key value pairs. So if I write obj and इसके अंदर I equals to my string I, should I be giving this object key value pairs? Everyone? So if I print object, am I gonna get something like this? ऐसा कुछ मिलने वाला है till the last one, right? So let me quickly show you how we are gonna get that. If I do a console.log obj, and if I try to print it, we're getting that, right? We're creating that, है ना? So now let's say if I store this value somewhere, so let me name it, let character for my string I, right? So let's pick my string and I, and now I'll do if we have to check an object. So if object, and inside this I'll take the character. So I'll check if we have this present inside our object, right? अगर object में this is present, what I'll do is I'll basically, I can do object char and I can do plus plus. So I can basically add it. Tick. Else what I'll do is I'll pick that object, I'll get that char and I'll initialize with the value. ठीक, समझ आ रहा है what am I doing here? No? Alright. Quickly tell me, if I do a object char, what am I gonna get अभी के लिए for now? Right now, this object is empty, right? What am I doing here? I'm trying to access this thing, right? So I'm trying to do something like this. I'm trying to do something like this. Am I? Yes. Yes. Is there anything inside that object? No. So is this if condition going to be true? No. If condition is going to be false, right? इसमें कुछ नहीं आने वाला. Then we'll be entering the else. Else में आएंगे yes, no, yes, no. Right. In else, what I'll do is I'll basically create this key value pair. Okay, so I'll create object A and I'll give it a value of 1. Yes, everyone. Yes, okay. So that was for the very first iteration. Now, in second iteration for this thing, again, I'm going to enter this and I'm going to ask this if condition, this question. Now, in second iteration, this was first iteration. In second iteration, I'm asking if this is present inside my object. Is it? Now it's present. So now this condition is going to be true, right? And what I'm doing is I'm basically accessing that value and I'm increasing it. So basically I'm picking this one and I'm updating it to 2. Now we know that if we have two exact same key value pair, the latter one is going to override the previous one, right? So finally, this thing is going to be the sole value. Now watch, if I print this object, if I do console.log obj, and if I do node obj, what am I getting? I'm getting A2, C2, D2, E2, and F5. Right? So basically, I'm calculating the frequency in key value pairs. Understood? समझ आया क्या, everyone? Yes. आया कि नहीं आया? If not, I can do a quick dry run for you guys. Shall we? Dry run? अच्छा, time is getting up, that's why. अच्छा, ठीक है. So you guys know this code and let me quickly reiterate it once again, right? ठीक है, तो हमारे पास एक string है in which we have repeating characters, right? So let's say we have A 3 times. ठीक? Now I've created an empty object and I'm running the loop on my string. In this string, I'm checking if object has that value or not. This particular value for now in the first iteration. The object is empty for now. So this condition will be false. Will be basically creating the first instance of A. Right? So I'll be writing A as 1. So in first iteration, in very first iteration, the object will be something like this. Okay? Then in second iteration, we'll be getting in here. We'll be checking if this is present. Now the object isn't empty और उसमें A present है. Right? So now what we'll do is we'll basically update it, right? So we'll access this value and I'll do it a +1. So this will be A2. Take in third iteration, again, we're going to go for this. Now this condition will be true given that we already have that and we're going to do a ++ on that. So this will be 3. ठीक है, इसी तरीके से it's going to calculate it for each and everything. अभी clear? Clear? ठीक, all right. ठीक है, so try doing a dry run for it and I'll be doing a dry run of it in next lecture if you guys don't get it anyways.